Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I can't even remember in which context I watched this. I watched a lot of shorts in like
Hmm.
the early fall. Like there was like Indie Shorts, Palm Springs. Uh, there's probably a couple in there that Holly Shorts. I think it might have been through Holly Shorts. But I just fell in love with this movie so much. It just is really like a really simple concept, but really robust and richly emotionally. So I've seen it a couple of times now, and every single time I feel like I find something different that I really love. Um, so not to ask a general question at first, but I mean, I want to just ask like, what was the jumping off point for this?
Yeah, so this idea came from our own experience. Obviously, like we had been working opposite schedules at the time of writing the script back in 2021, and it was a weird point in our lives because we had just moved in together
Mm-hmm.
after 4.5 years of long distance. We had gone to separate colleges on opposite coasts. She went to San Francisco, I stayed in Atlanta, and so after like finally getting together in person. Now I'm working overnights. She's working, 9 to 5, and we only see each other on the weekends and only have like this precious 48 hours
Yeah.
together. So that was the inspiration.
Yeah, but
It's very personal.
yeah, it's personal. And McKinley brought it to me with the idea because he's constantly like writing script ideas and sharing them with me. I was just kind of like a sounding off board. But
Yeah.
She's the
when he
best.
told
She's the
me,
best.
when he told me this one, I was like, oh, wait, I like this one. Like this one actually feels like McKinley and feels like him as a person. Because in college, he would do a lot of horror shorts and live action, like really great, but like not representative of him as a person. So this one I was like, oh, this is sweet. It made me cry. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, love this. And then I wanted to be part of it since it was about us, but I've never done anything with film. So this was really new for both of us being animation, but just for me in general, film. But it was really fun. We got
Mm-hmm.
to just like be control freaks about it and like
Yeah, that's the best thing. That's the best thing about animation, especially when you are a control freak, self-proclaimed control freak. Like with live action, because my background is in live action, you're only able to control so much at the end of the day. The sun
Mm-hmm.
is setting. You just have to like, throw your storyboards and shot list away. Yeah, you got to break for lunch at a certain time. In animation, you're like, no, I want that to be like that spatula to just be slightly a darker pink, and or
yeah.
or I want the character to just move like 2% faster or whatever it is. Like you're able to like be really nitpicky, which I love. I love that. But then at a certain point, like our producers, like McKinley, are giving too many notes. And if you want to finish the film, you gotta chill
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess 2 points of what you guys said. I feel like if I would watch something that I know my partner would watch who has a background in horror, I was like, all right, are we just going to die a violent, bloody death at one point? So, very different tone. But also, I guess, yeah, I mean, I interview a lot of live action filmmakers. I guess with that, since you are working with a whole lot of people, there's probably a lot more compromise, a lot more letting go. But I guess I sometimes forget with animation, you are in control of every single inch of the frame and every frame. So I would probably like to do animation because that is something that I would like to do myself.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Um, I want to ask about color palette at first because I remember the first time that I watched it. I think I the revelation that they were in the same space but not in the same time was like a really was a fun surprise for me. But I don't know why I was just so drawn to that aspect of the film. But I guess in terms of color palette, I like how I split it between him and her. So I mean, I like that him obviously at night, lots of blues, blacks, whites, but with her, there's like a pink, beige, brown. And I guess I wanted to know when we have that sort of split time and then we have uh, separated and coming back together. Can you kind of talk to me a little bit about like balancing that? I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We worked, we spent a lot of time on the color palette. We had like this whole like 20-page document, like basically just a color guide where
Mm,
Mackenzie and I picked like each individual like hex code, each like color code for
wow.
every prop, every piece of furniture, every all their clothing. The hardest part was the skin tone, especially for him at
Mm,
night, because in the end of the movie, like he's not blue, he's in the daylight. So we're like
mm,
we had to know like what colors are going to translate for him, especially his skin tone and his clothes, like what colors are going to translate from the blue sort of night shades into the daylight. So that was probably like the hardest part of the color palette. But yeah, we knew it was going to be like a split palette, you know, complementary colors
mm,
of the sort of warmer tones during the day and the cooler tones during the night. I think like the pinks and beiges and gold hues of like the daytime palette was a lot of like your own
Yeah,
personal taste like
definitely
into
our
that.
personal
Yeah.
vibes put into that.
And same with me, like the sort of darker blues. Like if you look at our this is silly, but if you look at our Instagram feeds,
Yeah.
they match like the color palettes of each character like
mm.
pretty spot on.
And like our home is very much like a
Yeah,
blend of
like a
the
blend of
two.
the two.
So
So
we, yeah,
That's
we really
cool.
put a lot of our own personal preferences. And like, I'm not a huge fan of the color purple. And so working with Priya, she was like, wow, I didn't realize how much you really don't like purple because
that
the
was
backgrounds and such. I was like, it's a little too purple. And
yeah, a lot of conversations with our art director is like that blue is looking too purple. We gotta push
that
it.
was kind of our
Change it.
inside joke, like
Yeah.
no purple. But I think because you wanted it, we wanted it to be very much distinct. Like this is his color palette, this is
Hmm.
hers, and purple is like a beautiful blend of the two of them. But we
Yeah.
didn't really want that. We wanted it to be separated. But I think Leah Chun, our background painter, her art is just beautiful, and I think that was a huge inspiration for us. Is like
Yeah.
how to incorporate her style and her backgrounds are just. She added so much texture and so much like variation in the color that we wanted to make throughout the film. So like
Yeah.
incorporating that into the characters themselves was big. And then once we saw it all together, it was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
And
that's
she
Mm.
cool.
Leah painted the very first what was sort of our
Mock, like our
yeah,
reference.
our like our what do you call that? Still frame. Oh no, there's a word for it. But basically like the very first painting that was gonna like set the tone
Tone.
and the feel and the mood for the rest of the film. She painted that and we were just kind of like, whoa, yeah, like this is it. This is crazy. So we did like model a lot of the rest of it off of that
The dining
still
room
frame, yeah.
background, that was the first one that we
Yeah,
saw. So
Oh, okay.
first one she painted.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are using that in like a lot of press stuff, that shot of the dining
Yeah.
room. I think I used it when I put I may have used it when I posted the review. And I just felt like the last time that I watched it and then I saw that image afterwards, I was just like staring at it because I was just like, I don't know, I felt like I was really kind of lost in like differences, but the
mm.
separation of it. And I just thought that was just I feel like I've never seen a movie kind of like do that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and another thing we wanted to stay away from was like because there's a really bad version of this movie where it's live action and it's just like a split screen.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
So we really wanted to stay far, far away from that. And I
Hmm.
think one of the things that when Leah painted that first still frame of the dining room, what she did with you'll notice like in the light that's
Mm.
cast from the overhead light of the table,
Hmm.
like little details like that where the light is split, but it's still like, you know, there's just a lot of like it feels dynamic and it's not just like
Hmm.
a cut and down the middle and, you know, split screen.
Yeah,
So
I find myself staring at it too. I'm like, wow, she really
yeah.
killed that. It was great.
She was able
Yeah.
to like make it feel very dynamic and alive versus just static. Yeah.
Yeah, because it does, anytime that they're in the same space together, it feels like, I don't, like another kind of moment is like when later in the film, when we see them like on the couch and they sort of look at the couch almost at this, not the same time, but I mean, like they're sort of having the same feeling.
Hmm.
And it's sort of like, I don't know. It felt like if I did split it into, something set like one cell versus another cell, they would like lay on top of each other in a very beautiful way. Um, and just also emotionally it does that too. This is a really good representation of how like the visual cues really match the thematic skills what the script is doing, which is really awesome. um I want to ask about I say the troublesome section, the section where the most emotionally fraught moment. I love how the color falls away, the motion is completely different. The way that they twist in the swings and the sound design in that section, I think, is really cool. That kind of like treacherous, like stretching sound, I thought was really effective. And that their eyes almost like change when they're sort of reaching for each other. That I every time I get see that section, um, I get really I get really sad. It's I don't know. I The funny thing is, like my husband and I, we started dating and then he immediately went to med school and we did long distance for about almost the same time, like 4-ish years, and then we moved in together and it was sort of like a weird uh like it was like culture shock, but it was like a shock
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost living
yeah,
together.
it is. Yeah.
It was the first time I ever lived with somebody else, like a partner. And it was very strange. So I think, I guess, just sidebar, the kind of emotionality that this film projects, I think, really hit me, and that sort of like worry that I'm sorry, I'm going to get back to my point, but like the worrisome section where you have that fear, that casting of doubt,
Mhm.
I think is really really felt in that section. So long roundabout way for me to ask about that that moment because I love it.
Yeah, well, first of all, that's yeah, I mean, we've heard like stories of people like after Q&As and stuff like come up to
Mm-hmm.
us and be like, this is me and my partner on
yeah,
the screen, or
Yeah.
like, and a lot of them from all different industries, but a lot of them from the medical field and working
Mm.
overnight at hospitals and stuff. So,
and long
and
distance
long
too,
distance,
which is
yeah.
interesting that you said that because I do feel like it really does feel like a long distance movie, and we didn't intend for that. We really intended for like the what we were going through was like the opposite schedules, but it does feel kind of long distance, especially that segment
Yeah.
too.
So
But
anyways,
I'm
appreciate
happy.
you sharing that.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, that section, first of all, our animation director, Ala, she animated that whole section
By herself.
herself.
Oh, wow.
Um, there were storyboards for that, but they were kind of like there was like three storyboards, like a beginning, a middle, and an end, and we're like, Ala, just go crazy and like
Love it.
do your thing, because like we knew that she can do crazy stuff like that with the camera, like
Mm-hmm.
going around them, like so she did all of that in like a matter of maybe 2 weeks. Like it was insane. She was able to pump that out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
yeah.
like when she
Okay.
sent it, we were like, oh, perfect, no notes. Like it was
Yeah.
exactly
I
like you'd see it
literally
in the
like
movie.
I've had like a million notes about everything, but that scene I don't think I had a single note.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she was able to capture something like super raw and like honest with the character's expressions and the emotion. And then with the sound design later on, I mean, that just like elevated it
Yeah.
to another level. Jeremy, our sound designer, like I told him like go crazy with the ropes and the stretching because
Yeah.
that's what that scene is representing. It's a metaphor for them kind of being pushed and pulled and like torn apart. And so we wanted to really like hear and feel that in a like visceral way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought the ropes and the wood creaking and like all the wind rushing, like every time that scene, like we've seen it a couple times in screenings and stuff now, and every time that scene comes up, I think we both kind of like get chills or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and also like that's the moment I think where um kind of like the air gets sucked out of the
Mhm.
room in
Yeah.
a way, like it's I don't know, it's my favorite scene. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when we saw the music too with it, because we didn't have most of the film done when we were doing the music. So this was the only, I think once Alla said that, it was done because there was no coloring or anything to
Mm.
do after that. So we showed it to our composers. And working with the music, that was the only thing we did in person. Like everything else was remote. So we got to
Mm.
be in the room when they showed us their pass. And
Yeah.
even the first or second pass, I think, of the music, that was it. We were like, that's perfect. So
Hmm.
that scene really was the most kind of important pivotal moment. Like if you didn't get the message of the story at that scene, like this was your moment to get it. So yeah, that scene every
It
time
just
we
kind
see it,
of
it like
came together like so
perfectly.
seamlessly and like effortlessly in terms of like all the different departments just kind of like got it. There
Yeah.
wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of like reworking that moment. So yeah, we were really proud of everybody's work in that
Hmm.
scene.
Yeah.
Kind of cool that the most sort of emotionally fraught section, everybody kind of nails it on the first
Yeah.
Yeah,
go. Like
yeah.
that's sort
You'd
of
think it'd be the opposite, but
yeah.
kind of we got lucky, I guess.
I
Yeah.
would feel like if I was a filmmaker trying to do that, I'd be like so nervous to finally see that. But if I was like, all right, never mind, you guys got the vision of what we were doing.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Just
Um,
yeah, credit to our team. I mean, they just understood it, and especially Ala, because like we had seen like some of her previous films, and she just does like insane work with the camera movement and like the
mhm,
shot design and stuff. And so we had full confidence that I was not nervous opening up that file. When she
yeah.
sent it for the first time, we were just like, this is awesome. So
Okay. Um, just a silly question before I let you both go. I love that sort of anticipation of the ending, this sort of finally getting to spend time with each other, that sort of moment that I something that I think is important when I was talking to somebody else about the film that I said, this is only one of however many moments that this couple has gone through this exact thing. I imagine this is something that happens time and time again. I felt that way, like sometimes when my husband is working, like a whole week on night stuff, and I work during the day, and I was like, all right, I'll see you for 40 minutes
Mhm.
at some point in the day, and then goodbye. I'll see you for a total of like an hour and a half the whole week. But I wanted to ask you both if on a Saturday morning you both wake up, what do you think this couple is going to do first thing?
that's a great question. I think they're gonna lay there for a while and just enjoy it and soak it
Yeah.
in. I mean, that's honestly what we would do is like you I think like what I like about that last scene is like, you know, the previous scene is like their hands reaching for each other and
Mm-hmm.
they're sort of pulled apart, and then the next image you see is their hands coming together,
Yeah.
and that scene, like, it's the longest scene in the movie in terms of just the length of each shot. Like, each
Mhm.
shot lingers on intentionally, like, a little too long. But I think the point is, like, that they're just sitting and enjoying that moment and kind of,
Soaking it in.
yeah, soaking it in and relishing in the fact that, like, they're actually, like, physically there next to each other and they're
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to touch each other and enjoy the peace that is each other.
I think that's kind of our long distance coming in too. Is like
Mm.
we would be together after being physically in separate states for so long. Just doing nothing was our favorite thing to
Yeah.
do, just because we could do it together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they would make breakfast together
Yeah.
because poor guy's eating cereal every day. He's like, I want to eat
Cereal at 4 a.m. and drinking coffee at
he's like, I
3
want
Yeah.
to eat
a.m.
that one single egg that you're eating too.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. They would probably like
no, I feel like they would have like
make
an
a
actual
nice breakfast
breakfast,
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
not cereal and egg.
Okay. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I feel like I could probably talk about this movie for a lot longer. I just think I keep coming back to it. And I keep looking at shorts that are in contention and stuff. I just feel like a lot of people have a lot of really positive vibes from this movie. I can't believe I just said that, but I don't know. There's something like, I don't know. There's something deeply relatable about this, even if people haven't experienced it themselves.
Mm,
Um, and that sort of going along with what you both were saying, like that kind of doing nothing together, I think is a really a really beautiful thing that if people haven't experienced that, that's probably one of the most rewarding things you can do with your partner doing nothing together. Um,
absolutely. And even
so
if it's not like a romantic relationship, like doing nothing with that friend that you're able
oh
to
yeah.
sit on the couch with and you don't have to say a word,
Or like
but
your
you
grand
guys get each other. Or yeah,
Mhm.
I
like
think about
sibling.
my Nana's house. Like I would just go sit and watch like Food Network with her. And I was thinking about that the other day. Like that was just so perfect. What a great time. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, just being with somebody in relationship And that's what I mean, like McKinley's background has always been these like horror films, this big concept like conceptual ideas, and this is just such a simple idea, but it
Yeah.
just we all experience it in one way or another. So we thought we're
Yeah.
like, why not? Let's just go for a
Hmm.
story that is so true to us, but a lot of people. So we're
Yeah.
glad that it makes you feel
Yeah,
that
no,
way.
that's so great to hear.
Yeah, there's a lot of comfort in here. The sort of like like the kind of time, if I just get through this amount of time, I can reach that comfort again. I think that's a really kind of simple but beautiful anticipatory type of thing. I kind of, if I could just live my life being comfortable around everybody for the rest of my life, that would be perfect.
Perfect.
Um, Thank you again. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you,
Thank
Joey. We
you.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All
It's
right.
great
Thank
talking
you.
with you.
You too. All right.